Hey comic book friends, I'm Travis. It's time for the edition of Monster Comic Reviews, where I talk about my monster pile of superhero comics. A few comics. Let's talk comics. This is for the week of January 28th, 2015. Jump right in, Arkham Manor number 4. 2 more issues and this is done. I enjoyed this issue. Duggan's story is decent. I like Crystal's art. I just like this kind of fun, stylized Batman, just because it's kind of a different version of Batman as far as that goes. There are some funny moments in here. The portrayal of Mr. Freeze in this is really funny. You know, he's just kind of hanging out in his cooler, eating some ice cream and that sort of stuff. They have a moment where Batman's alter ego and Mr. Freeze, battle a psychotic fragment of Clayface in this, and then they escape Arkham Manor. It's like they're gonna run away, and stuff, and escape. And Mr. Freeze decides he's not gonna escape because there's no place for him to really go. It's wintertime, so he just flops himself down in the snow and makes some snow angels and whatnot. Just kind of funny. Nothing earth-shattering here. I do think it's really curious, the fact that we keep touching on a character named Silvermane in this, which the correlation is that this is the mother of the main character, Olive Silvermane, from Gotham Academy, which I'll talk about here in just a little bit. So that's really curious as to why they keep putting that little extra thing in there. If you're only reading one of these books, not the other one, I don't know that either one are special or mean anything to anybody at all. But of course, if you're reading the two together, this is kind of like a fun little wink and a nudge at something else that's going on someplace else. And so yeah, so I don't know, that part's really interesting from that aspect of it. Curious to see how this ends, curious to see who the villain is in it and whatnot. It may have lost some of its initial spark and interest due to the fact is that we know this is a finite thing now. When the convergence hits, this book's done. It's not going to come out the other side of it. So it all feels really temporary. So now it has a lot less, potentially a lot less significance. The fact is that Arkham Manor used to be the Wayne Manor and that sort of thing. I don't know if that means we're going to get it back. It's going to come back to being the Wayne Manor at some point, but I don't know. It almost seems like it's not, because of course in the current book with Endgame, which is set somewhat in the future, at the other end of Batman Eternal is when its story is being told. It seems to be he's living out of like out of Wayne Tower or something else like that. So I don't know. Curious to see how that part of it turns out, as much as this actual story in and of itself. Speaking of Batman, this is Batman Endgame Part 4. Endgame is just brilliant, whereas the last arc was this drudgery, it seemed like, to go through. It delved into the past of things in a way and retold some stuff. But this issue was brilliant. You get this whole kind of alternate history telling of Joker that's got everybody's head spinning about the fact that he's potentially an immortal, that he's been around forever. They have all these pictures of him throughout time, and all these different things, and all that kind of stuff, and he seems to be indestructible, just like it's just, and there's Vandal Savage references in this book, and all this incredible stuff. And of course, you have these backstories back here. They have all these fictitious stories of alternate histories of who the Joker is and what the Joker is and everything. And to me, it just, I know there's lots of people on the internet. It's like, oh my gosh, they've changed Joker. They've ultimately changed Joker. He's actually this other thing and whatnot. I don't believe that for a second. The Joker's playing game. The Joker is playing a joke. That's why we're getting all these other stories. There's all these different stories. Which one's true? Probably none of them are true. but it's fun to read. It's fun to read, and it's fun to watch, and fun to see what happens. And I'm not going to talk tons about this now, because if you watch John DaCosta's channel, it's been hinted at a couple times now. There is a Bat Chat coming, and I'm going to save any real goodies, any real fanboy frothing at the mouth about this book for that, because there's some awesome stuff. Mr. DaCosta has some great ideas himself on looking at what this means and the extra meanings that are there and stuff. Should be a brilliant and fun time, but I'm seriously digging the end game. Really enjoying the heck out of this. This has been a very fun Batman read, and I'm glad it's here, and I'm glad we got a great Batman book going. Batman Eternal, issue number 43. I've been really hard on Batman Eternal for the last couple weeks, and I apologize if you hear that squeaking. That's a heater I have, extra heater I have running, because I'm freezing to death, and it won't shut up. Anyway, this was a great issue, though. It was lots of fun, had fun stuff in it. The art in it I really was tickled by. We get this, some great Harper Row, Bluebird moments in here. We in this issue, we actually experienced what happened way back in like Batman issue number, I don't know, what was it, 28 or 29 or something like that, where it hinted to the future of what Batman Eternal was going to be. We actually have that transpire, and now we're a few moments past it. We also get some great moments between Spoiler and Bluebird, or more accurately, Stephanie Brown and Harper Row. They butt heads, but then realize they're kind of, in the same place. They're two peas in a pod. They're of the same age. They're of the same everything as far as that kind of stuff goes. Clearly neither one of them had clean living growing up and stuff. It wasn't easy life for them and whatnot. There's some wonderful moments of dialogue between them. They even have this moment where I was last week was harping on the fact that inside, Celine Kyle is drawn with this shirt that she doesn't have buttoned up, and it's tucked in at her belt, kind of a thing. These two girls even comment on that, which I thought was hilarious, made me laugh out loud. And then we get this huge bomb dropped at the end of this, because Spoiler does tell, she's keeping a secret from everybody else, but she does break down and tell Harper who it is that she saw making these massive plans with the Clue Master. And I won't spoil that, but it's huge. It's really huge, and it'll be curious to see how that all works going forward. But really fun. Actually looking forward to the next Batman Eternal, see what happens next as we roll into like the last, 8 or 10 issues of Batman Eternal. Excited to see what happens with it. Catwoman number 38 continues to be a great read. I love this take on Catwoman. I love Valentine's delivery of Catwoman. I continue to love the fact there's these literary quotes of women of power and grace at the beginning and the ends of lots of these stories, and it works well with the story itself as we see Celine Kyle continue to make hard choices moving forward to try and fix the city and save Gotham as much as she can by being a crime lord. That clashes with the girl who's now faking that she's Catwoman, and it also clashes with Batman in this issue. I think there's some great moments in here with her and Batman, and of course their incredibly complicated relationship, where you get the definite impression that she would really love to be held and coddled, but clearly that's not going to happen because she can't. That's not where she's at. That's not going to help. She's beyond help. Get away. I just thought they were good moments. I thought they were good moments. They worked well. And I love Brown's artwork in this. So all good stuff. Enjoying the heck out of this. We get the Penguin show up towards the end of this. Looks like maybe he's going to make a move again at some point. So that should be pretty exciting too. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Catwoman. I'm sure the whole her as a crime boss will end at some point. When it does, I hope they give Valentine a shot to tell story beyond that, because I just love I love her rendition of Clean Asile. She's just a very smart woman in this. I mean, she just really comes across as having it together and and being more than just a sex kitten. She can be that when she needs to be that, and she enjoys being that, but she can also be this efficient, cold, calculating, cold but also passionate, if that makes sense, person about what she's doing, and I really dig that. So, Gotham Academy issue number 4. I believe this is the last issue of this that I pulled. I did drop this off my pull. Just not my thing. It's well produced, drawn well, decent story. It's just not, I mean, to me it still comes across as kind of Harry Potter-esque kind of a thing. I'm not particularly care for it. The rest of my family seems to really like it. So that being said, it may end up back on my pull, and I may go to the store somewhere and pick up the issues that I missed until I get it back on my pull, because everyone else in the house seems to like it, even though I don't care for it. I'm not a big fan of Harry Potter either. I mean, it's fine, it's fun, but I'm not excited to go and read Harry Potter books and whatnot. It's just a kind of a setup that doesn't interest me. But it's executed well, and I think the story is getting stronger with every issue. The characters are stronger. There are great characters in this. Love maps, for instance, and whatnot. So it's a great book. It's a cool book. It's just not. It doesn't tickle my fancy in the way that I want it to, and so that's why I'm where I'm at with it. Not to say somebody shouldn't pick it up or it's poorly written or all those things, because it's not. I think it's well done. It just doesn't appeal to me personally, so I'm not going to read it. But yeah. There's some great stuff. There's some great stuff in it, though. Gotham Academy issue number 3. I enjoyed this issue. It felt a little flat as a whole. Like nothing really happened in it. I mean, stuff did, but it didn't feel significant. Mostly, it felt like it was more set up to bigger picture things that are going to happen. They're going to be exciting. And I'm looking forward to that. There's some artistic elements I really liked in this. There's a shadow monster thing that's kind of raising some havoc in the hospital. And Jim Corrigan is kind of fighting back the Spectre busting out, because he knows if the Spectre busts out, in this version of the Spectre, he seems to basically be a nuclear bomb. If the Spectre comes out, he just annihilates everything. If you aren't truly the righteous and right, you're dead. You're just annihilated by the Spectre. And so he doesn't want the Spectre to bust out in this hospital, because chances are very, very, very few people are righteous and right. So it pretty much just kills everybody. And he doesn't want to be responsible for killing everybody just to try and deal with this shadow monster thing, so trying to find another way around that. So that's kind of interesting. And the artistic element that I want to talk about with that is that Ben Templesmith, when he draws Jim Corrigan under these conditions, he slowly starts to get a green hue on him. I'm trying to find some pictures of him. So, you know, here he is, and I don't know if my camera will pick it up. He's a little greener than everybody else is. And as things start to heat up and it gets a little crazier, he continues to get greener and greener and greener as he's fighting back. He's fighting back the Spectre. So that's kind of a cool element. We also get to experience the kind of a history of our female detective in this, which is really interesting. She exposes kind of a mystical power of sorts. We still don't really get told what she is, but I don't know, maybe she's a banshee of some sort or that sort of thing. I'm not sure. She does a scream that's just pretty incredible and annihilates a bunch of stuff. So I'm curious to see more about that and what that ends up being like too. But interesting. I like it. Not blowing my socks off, but cool. Speaking of blowing my socks off, this is the Multiversity Guidebook. This is a whopping $8 book, $7.99, massively thick thing. This incredible story in it, and it is filled in the middle with examples of pretty much all 52 universes, which is awesome. You get these great Earths like Earth 13, which I really want a book on Earth 13 because it's all magical people. There's the demon. He's basically Superman. Swamp Thing in there. Clarion Witch Boy, Dead Man. John Constantine is a superhero. Yeah, just some great stuff. But what's really incredible about it also is this incredible story that is told around it. The Commandy stuff that's here is absolutely brilliant. I really want a Commandy book after this. The artist that does the Commandy stuff is incredible. That is Paulo Sequeira does the Commandy part of it. It's just, and of course Dave McCraig is an awesome colorist. Do that part. It's just absolutely amazing. The other thing amazing about this is, of course, this book heavily ties in a lot of the comic book element of this kind of overreaching arc that's through all of the Multiversity books. And what's really brilliant is in 3 or 4 pages, the Multiversity is explained really brilliantly. The Crisis on Infinite Earth is explained really brilliantly. All of that is just put together so well, so easily by Grant Morrison in this. It's amazing how well and easily it's explained. Just incredible. Just a great story. If this is the last work that really Grant Morrison does for DC, and this is what he goes out on working for corporate comics, it's brilliant because he really feels like he's getting to kind of do what he wants to do and tell a really interesting story. Granted, we have to wait for it to end, and what do we get at the end of this whole thing? Be curious to see, but just another brilliant book. Most of these Multiversity books have just been great, and they seem to just be getting better and better as they go along. Just amazing. Or maybe it's the fact that us as readers are getting it more and more, understanding what's being told to us and how it's all kind of starting to work together and be this really, really interesting commentary on the DC universe, potentially, too. So really, really great for all of that. Next up is Sundowners issue number 6. This is the final issue of this arc. You can go and pick up the trade. If you haven't picked this up, I'd be inclined to say go pick up the trade. It's all kinds of crazy pants, but the kind of cool crazy pants. This wonderful kind of strange art as we come down to the final battle at this church with this whole cult with these things from another dimension. And once again, toy with the idea of are these 4 superheroes, are they having a group hallucination, or are they really seeing something because they're gifted that no one else is seeing? That all gets played with a little more here, but still really, really cool. Love these characters. Really curious to see where the book goes past this. It's pretty amazing. Tim Seeley, this is another Tim Seeley book with Jim Terry on art. I know there was a little bit of a break in some of these issues. I think that was because Jim Terry had a death in the family. So, of course, as creator, you need to take time for that. We all respect that, right, as readers, or we should if you don't. But really cool otherwise. Really interesting, really out there. Tim Seeley was commenting on Twitter that not too many people are reading it. Supposedly it's critically acclaimed. How come you aren't reading it? So there's the question. It's critically acclaimed. How come you aren't reading it? If you get a chance, check it out. It's kind of cool. It has some really trippy stuff going on. There's some werewolf fighting. There's some ghosts with skull head fighting in here. There's some metaphysical stuff going on. There's things from other dimensions in this. Yeah. And there's just this badass supergroup. Yeah. Fun stuff. Really good. Really cool. Glad I've been picking that up. Marvel book. Avengers. Uncanny Avengers number 1. I decided to jump back on Uncanny Avengers. I tried Uncanny Avengers the last time it started out with the artist that was on it. It had some hiccups. It was really slow and I just didn't care. Hopefully this won't be the same way. Hopefully it'll be consistent. As far as that goes, it's a Rick Remender book. I have been really digging Rick Remender's other independent work. I enjoyed most of his first little bit of run of Captain America that he did. So I figured I'd pick this up, and it's got Daniel Acuna on art. I like this art style. This art style is really kind of cool. It starts this whole story that I'm not 100%. I don't 100% know about. It's the aftermath of the Axis stuff. After that happened and whatnot, we find out that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, I've discovered that Magneto is not their dad. That kind of throws them in kind of a tailspin. They're off trying to discover who their dad is. They've kind of fallen off the radar and off the map. Rogue has gathered together some of the Avengers to help her go find Scarlet Witch because she's concerned about Scarlet Witch. And the people that she's gathered together don't seem to really care all that much, but they were who was available. And so you've got these different motivations as to why everybody's going along. Of course, Scarlet Witch's ex-husband, the Vision's there, which is interesting. Sabretooth is there. That's kind of cool. Sabretooth is one of the people that after the whole Axis thing switched back, he didn't switch back. He's still kind of a good guy. At least he's not. If he's not a good guy, he's remorseful of all the stuff that he has done. He's not a slothering berserker all the time. They actually have him on a magical leash, and they're using him as basically a sniff dog to hunt down the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. We've got the current Captain America on the team, and who else? We got Brother Voodoo on the team, which is cool. Curious to see where they're at. They're doing some dimension, or not dimension hopping. They're doing some world hopping, so they're kind of out in another world. So there's some stuff going on there. I don't know all the answers to stuff because clearly a lot of stuff happened that I don't know about because I don't really read Avengers. I'm hoping that this Avengers book doesn't tie into a bunch of other stuff going forward. I mean, I'm sure that we're on issue 1, and like 4 months from now, the whole Secret Wars thing is going to start. So hopefully it doesn't mess this up too much or get tied into that too much. Because I really would like to read an Avenger book. There's tons of Avenger characters I actually really like, and I'd love to see a kind of a cool and exciting, superhero book, big group book. And I struggle with them because, these heavy titles like the Avengers and the X-Men, they get so tied into the events that it kind of wrecks it for me. So I'm hoping this one's enough off the beaten path that it's not too messed up by whatever happens in the Secret Wars and whatnot. But I enjoyed this first issue, and I'm going to give it a shot going down the road. Speaking of things I didn't really enjoy, this is issue number 4 of Wolverines. This is the last you're probably going to hear me talk about it. This is actually on my poll for probably another month, so I probably got at least 4 to 6 more issues, I believe. Yeah. Or maybe I don't know, something like that. But I'm not enjoying it, so I'm not going to keep beating it up every week that I have it, unless something, I'm going to keep reading it because I paid the money for it, but unless something significantly changes in it, I'm not going to talk a lot more. I'm just not really enjoying it. This issue didn't really go anywhere, it didn't feel like to me. It just kind of did a whole lot of nothing. There's probably 3 pages of actual movement in this, and I don't know if there was much in the way at all of any sort of actual character development. So if you're not going to spend a lot of time with nothing going on, but there be character development, great dialogue and that stuff, that's fine. Then the plot itself doesn't have to move forward. But if nothing like that is going on, then advance the plot so we can get to where something exciting is happening instead of just the heroes fighting other heroes sort of thing. And because that's all there was that was in this. There was really much in the way of interest. So, yeah. Sad note to end on, but not liking Wolverines. I don't know if it's a combination of the fact that half those characters I don't care about because I know nothing about them, or it's the fact that the other characters I'm more interested in aren't the ones they're focusing on, or I'm not that into the Wolverine universe as I thought I might be, or what. But yeah, not really enjoying that. So like I said, unless suddenly it radically changes somewhere, you probably won't hear me talk about it anymore, even though I'll be picking it up. I just don't want to spend a lot of energy bad-mouthing something, or spend energy talking about the books that I'm excited by, or if something's wrong with the book, I'm hoping that it's interesting things to have wrong with the book to talk about if I'm going to complain. So, that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next week.